Jushmai, Brom, welcome. Good evening, folks. Let's see if I can give you some financial advice tonight that will be of value to you. Hallo Fanny, goeienaand. Welkom by ons TikTok live oefening. Q&A's. TJI, Rita Becker, goeienaand. Rita, ek seker jy was al te van tevore hierso, so welkom terug. En terwyl ek wag vir die eerste vraag, gaan ek nog steeds 'n stukkie droewors hierso sit en kou. Die droewors is verbasend lekker vandag. Hallo Marai en Rodney. Physics lover. Welcome. Hello Vernon, Edson, good evening folks. Whoever's ready, pop us a question. Let's start this thing off and see where we go tonight. This was the biggest mistake today. Because now that I started, I can't stop. Any case. Encourage your viewers to send gifts and thank them for their support. Okay. So the question is, what will encourage people to send a gift? What must anybody do from this side of the screen to encourage somebody else to send a gift? I honestly don't get it. But we don't think people make money doing that. Hello, I am Waldro. Good evening, Mr. Lee Lyon. Welcome to you all. Please pop in a question. Good evening, Zwep1. Let's see if you can ask a question tonight that I cannot answer and that I need to go research. So here's car sales, Lambason, Beth, good evening to all of you, welcome. Pop a question in, good evening, Physics Lover, you back again, you must have dropped out. Claudine, Nonchanga, good evening everybody, welcome, and please go ahead and pop in any financial questions that you have. We talk a lot of customer support says, are you an independent broker? I am indeed. Customer support. I am an independent financial advisor, although I do have an Old Mutual franchise as well, which makes me a tied agent on that side. But yes, I am independent and I can assist people in literally any company that you can think of out there. We've got contracts with just about every one of the major players. Sanlam, Old Mutual, Liberty, Discovery, Coronation, Allan Gray, the whole tutti. And over and above the fact that I am independent and basically standing on both sides, I have 11 financial advisors in my company who can also assist people with financial advice. A lot of people popping in and out tonight. Maybe it's because it's so warm outside. Nobody wants to sit down for 5 seconds. I kind of feel the same way tonight because I'm sitting here, got a fan going, got all the doors and windows open, and so I feel like I am boiling out of my skin. Okay, so the first real question for the line comes from user DDS. Hi there, which is the best company to do my tax-free savings account? I was thinking of starting one with Signia. So user DDS, there's no real company that's the best company to do tax-free savings account through. At the end of the day, you can do your investment through a number of companies. And what makes your tax-free savings account good is if you choose the correct underlying portfolio. So what I mean by this is, you could do a tax-free savings account through the bank, okay? And let's say you open a savings account with them and they give you a money market and they say to you, listen here, we will give you a money market account with 7% interest. Then if you have a tax-free savings and you are in that money market account, then you will get 7% interest and it will be tax-free. Whoopee. But if you are invested with a company and you have a global equity fund, for example, like Old Mutual Global Equity, which is performing at 14% on average, Allan Gray Balance Fund, which has been doing 18% on average the last 2 or 3 years, Coronation Equity, there's a number of these companies that I can keep on going. If you invest in one of those, and let's say you get this 14% return on investment and it's also tax-free, then you are outperforming the person that's got the money market account with 7% growth by 7%. So you're getting double the growth. So it's the underlying portfolio that you choose in your tax-free investment that determines whether it's a good investment or not. I often say this to people. If you have to compare a tax-free savings account to the bank, where you're going to get 7%, with a normal endowment where you get 12%, after the 12%, or rather the 12% is after taxes if it's a normal one, not a tax-free one, then that normal endowment is already giving you 5% more than the tax-free investment just because you picked the right portfolio. So it is really, I always say this, it's virtually impossible to tell somebody this is the best company. The portfolio you choose is the best. That's the underlying one. So just to get back to your question in terms of, you say you are thinking of starting one with Signia. Signia is a very good company. They've got some very good funds with good performances. So I cannot see any problem with you opening tax-free investment with Signia. I really think it's a good company and they've got good portfolios. Whether that investment with Signia is going to give you great returns at the end of the day is going to depend on the Signia portfolio that you choose. Because if you choose a very conservative Signia portfolio, then you are back in the same position. You're getting a return of 7 or 8% because you've chosen a very low risk, very conservative investment. And then the tax-free investment is really not giving you the performance that you want. So always the underlying portfolio in that investment company. That is what depends or decides whether it's a good tax-free investment or not. Okay, then customer support says, please exchange the tax implications on endowment investment in your personal income tax rate of 18%. So I'm not 100% what you mean when you say please exchange the tax implications in your endowment. So basically, what I can tell you, okay, is if you've got a personal tax rate of 18%, then an endowment will not be the best investment for you. If you've got a personal tax rate of 18%, you'd rather be invested in a unit trust investment because the endowment is taxed inside of the endowment. The portfolio that you earn your growth in is taxed inside of the endowment at 30% company tax rate. Yes, when the endowment matures, you get that money after tax, so you don't feel or see it, but inside of the fund, that's the tax that applies, 30%. But if you've got a tax rate of 18%, then when it matures one day, you will pay capital gains tax in your personal capacity. So you receive everything and then you pay tax, and you pay capital gains tax on your own personal tax rate, which is 18%. So therefore, if you have a personal tax rate of 18%, the unit trust will be better for you. But for somebody that's got a tax rate of 30% or more, the endowment will be better for them. And this is only from a tax perspective, okay? We're not talking length of investment, meaning the number of years. We're not talking type of portfolio you choose. We're not talking anything else. We're talking literally just the tax implication. So I don't know if I've answered you correctly, customer support, but I hope I have. Shalon says, hello, so happy to be here first time, but following you on Facebook for some time. Well, welcome to you, Shalon. I'm very happy to see some of the followers coming in and listening and asking questions. It's very nice to have you. Thank you very much. She says, yes, I would assume, Shalyn says, I am with Signia, MSCI, World and Nasdaq 100, but Correa is 100% right. Thank you very much. Yes, Signia is a very good company. I really can't fault them. You know what, folks? I have to start talking to the Signias and Alan Grace and whatever, because I talk about them so a lot. They're going to have to start paying me for promoting them. Mark Hoffman says, hoping to reach your level of knowledge one day. Mark, I'm sure you will. Trust me, mate, it's not something it's not something that happened overnight, hey? I've been in this industry for way too long. But yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. And Mark, if you are an independent financial advisor or tied agent or whatever, and you want just want to have a chat, please contact me on my WhatsApp number. I love talking to younger advisors in the industry, and if you say that you will get to my level of knowledge, then I can only assume that you're younger than me and you are still learning. So please contact me and hey, let's have a coffee, chat about the industry, see where you are, see if I can give you some guidelines. User DDS, thank you so much. So which one do you advise? So User DDS, like I said, I like Old Mutual Global Equity Fund, so I would normally do a tax-free investment for somebody with Old Mutual, because if it's on the platform and you use their fund, you pay lower cost. So not only do you get the tax-free growth, you also get the lower cost. But then, if somebody says, listen, yeah, I want to do it, but I don't really want to be invested in such an aggressive fund, I want to be invested in something that's more medium risk. Well, like I said, Alan Gray Balance Fund is fantastic, and it has been for all these years. Then you can go and make use of that, and you can go directly to Alan Gray. The one thing that people should understand is that with all the investment companies, on the investment platforms, you can basically make use of just about any investment house or company's portfolios these days. So if you go and you invest with somebody like an Alan Gray directly, you use the Alan Gray funds, then you're normally tied in a bit. But if you make use of a different company where they've got everybody on their platform, you've got more variety. Now I used Alan Gray now, but actually it's wrong, because they also have a number of people on the platform. So it depends on the company you go to, whether they only have their own funds and therefore you can only invest in them, or whether you have some variety. And I would say I would rather go to a company like I said now, Old Mutual Global Equity Fund, lower cost on your investment because you're using the same fund from the same company. But at least there you have the flexibility to say, I do want to use a second or a third fund as well. And then you can use everything in one investment. You don't have to go and open up 3 separate investments. So that's basically what I would say. Callum Ryan says, I have an investment account with 10x called My Future Fund. I'm looking for something more. Callum, I wish I could give you an answer in terms of what would be something more, but I can't, because there's so many portfolios. Even if I tried, I can't keep up with all their investment performances and what their philosophies is and so on. So I will literally have to go into 10x, the site, go and find the fund fact sheet, just to have a quick read so that I can just update myself as to what this fund is and what it does before I'll be able to advise somebody. And even if I do that, and now I see this fund and I know what's happening on that fund, the next thing would be that I have to have a discussion with you to understand your circumstances and needs better. It's only when I understand your circumstances and need better that I could possibly recommend a different fund that will give you the something more that you're looking for. So Callum, I'm going to tell you what I tell a lot of people, and I'm sure lots of people don't like hearing it, but go and speak to a financial advisor that understands these things, that can help you. Let them guide you, and if you don't want to do that, go and do your own investigation. There is no ways you can learn about all the different funds and portfolios. But go and pick a couple of companies that you like and go and look at some of their portfolios and then decide accordingly. people think that you should understand and know all these companies and all their portfolios, but it's like driving cars. There must be 50 or 60 makes, I suppose, in South Africa these days, but you speak to anybody and there's 2 or 3 manufacturers that they really like and that they look at when they want to buy a car. They're definitely not going to try and learn and know everything about every car. The only person that does that is the mechanic that works on the car, or the car dealership that has to have that knowledge. Let's see what's next. Yeah. Shalene says, definitely you really push good products. Thank you very much. I try my best. Ali Ark, read Intelligent Investor. Is that a book? If it is, it sounds like a good one. That's the one thing that I'm a big fan of, is people reading to educate themselves, and especially for young people, the Psychology of Money and Baby Steps are 2 of the financial books that I definitely will recommend to people. The Psychology of Money, to make us understand how we think as human beings about money and investments, and how we should be thinking and how we can change our thinking in order to become successful investors and therefore intelligent investor. And then Baby Steps is how to get out of debt, stay out of debt, and become wealthy by never getting back into debt and investing correctly. Hi, hope you're well. I'm thinking of investing in Easy Equities, US companies. What do you think? Bobby Lee? So here's the thing with regards to Easy Equities. Easy Equities is a platform and an investment company that's been created for people like yourself that want to invest and follow their own decisions. They don't want advice from anybody else. They don't want to listen to a financial advisor or make use of a financial advisor. They want to make their own decisions. So if you want to make use of Easy Equities because you want to make your own decisions, then go for it. Absolutely go for it. I know that people believe that they're going to have a substantial saving in cost because they're not making use of a financial advisor, but that's not always the truth. There might be a 0.2, 0.3, maybe even a 0.5% different cost, but it's not as if they're going to save you 2% on an investment. But Easy Equities, from everything I've heard, is not a bad company. I do not pay attention to Easy Equities, with all due respect. I've heard so much about them. I think I've been on their website twice in my life. And the reason I don't pay attention to Easy Equities is because as a financial advisor, I can't make use of their products and I can't give my clients their products. And why would I want to go and look at their products when I have got all these other investment companies that I can use and that has these brilliant portfolios that I can make use of? So I think somebody asking a question like, what do you think of Easy Equities? I think you want your bread buttered on both sides, basically. And when I say you want your bread buttered on both sides, you want a financial advisor to give you some advice, but you want to do it yourself so that you save the cost. So I get the best of both worlds. Now, lots of financial advisors, such as myself, will gladly give you my opinions about portfolios, investments, whatever. But I won't be able to assist you with making a decision on Easy Equities. And that's not normally the big problem of where you're going to invest. The bigger problem comes in managing those funds into the future. Just about anybody can go into Easy Equities and buy S&P 500 or Satrix 100 or a global equity fund or whatever. But if you don't understand your own needs in terms of investing, then how are you going to know in the future whether you should stay there or move out? If you don't understand how risk and time works together in order to make a decision, how are you going to know if you picked the right one? And yes, there's a lot of people that go at it on their own, and a lot of them get lucky, and they will admit that when you speak to them, some of them will admit, listen, yeah, I was just lucky because I picked the right funds. But more often than not, I speak to people that are very disappointed with their returns because they made the wrong decisions. So Bobby Lee, go for it, mate. Go and invest with Easy Equities. Make use of US companies. What the portfolio is going to look like and which companies you're going to use, I can't tell you. I don't use the platform. Mark will definitely reach out. We have spoken before, but we'll be grateful for any guidance. Hey, absolutely, Mark. And if we have spoken from before, I'm sorry if I forget. I do speak to quite a number of people these days, thanks to the TikTok videos and stuff. D2 says, what would you say is the best investment plan for a minor of 1 year old already started the tax-free savings account? Oh, D2, my man. Yeah, okay, so you've started tax-free savings account. I think that's good. I think the next best thing would most probably be an endowment, because if you started something like that, the possibility of you creating a situation where your 1 year old will one day be successful and earning good money is very good, and therefore an endowment will be good for them. If you, this is something that's absolutely brilliant, if you want to not only make provision for that 1 year old to have a lot of funding somewhere in the future, like at the age of 20, 25 and so on, but you say, listen, yeah, I want to make sure that my 1 year old will never worry about their retirement, then you start the retirement annuity for that kid. Because if you start that retirement annuity now with enough money, a reasonable premium, they get to the age of 21, they might not even have to pay that retirement annuity into the future anymore, and they will have enough money to retire on just based on the first 21 years of contributions. It sounds ridiculous, but it's not. And over and above that, they get the tax deductibility of the premiums. So, to me, you've started tax-free investment. Next thing is either the endowment or the retirement annuity, or if you've got plenty of money, you do both for them. But more important than that, for your 1 year old, irrespective of the type of investment you start for your child, the more important thing is that you should educate your child in terms of finances and investing. It happens too often, way too often, that people make provision for their children because they want to provide for the university one day, or for this or that, or whatever the case might be. And then that child gets to the age of 18 or 20 or 21, and they don't want to study. And then they take the money and they go and buy shite. It's the only word I can use for it. And they waste mum and dad's wonderful investment that they did for them all the years. Or that kid has no financial education, and yes, yeah, I've got a bunch of money and they want to start a company, but they don't know how to run a company. So if you really want the investment for your child to be of a benefit, educate your children. Make sure that they understand finances and money and investing. That is a bigger gift, trust me, than any investment you can make for your child. American Express, Apple, Milan City. Okay, go for it, Bobby Lee. I do not deal in shares, so I can't even give you an opinion about different shares or individual shares. I don't deal in shares. I deal in portfolios. I want to sleep at night. I don't want to get an ulcer. Callum, it's only a pleasure, mate. Anytime. I try and get through everybody on a Thursday night. Let's see. There's a lot of people. Read all the books you mentioned. Yes, great stuff. And if you want to know about more books, you send me a WhatsApp on the WhatsApp number, and I'll gladly send you a list of books. I've got a startup pack that I normally send to people with about 20 books that I really think everybody should read. I'll gladly send you that, but I'm up to about 60 books in my total list of books that I've read, and I find them 99% of them is great books. Simple Path to Wealth book, I'll have to look into that one. Confessions of a Church Girl. Confessions of a... please repeat the book name. Okay, Church Girl, or Confessions of a Church Girl. The book is The Psychology of Money. That's the one. And the other one is Baby Steps. Let me just see. I can't remember exactly if it's the full name or not. Baby Steps. Baby Steps, Baby Steps, Baby Steps. Let me see if I can find it for you quickly here. It's by Dave Ramsey. Baby Step Millionaires. That's the full title. Baby Steps Millionaires by Dave Ramsey. Okay. That's the answer you were looking for. What does this mean? Calum, okay, I've lost a bit of track in terms of what we've discussed, so I'm not sure what you're referring to when you say what does this mean. Yes, Baby Steps Millionaire. Baby Steps Millionaires and the Psychology of Money, 100%. Let's see who's next. What does CPI plus 5.5% actually mean for my investment over time? So CPI plus 5.5% means the following. CPI stands for inflation. So if inflation averages 5% over the lifetime of your investment, okay, and it says CPI plus 5.5%, means that that investment that you've got is trying to beat inflation by 5.5%. So if inflation is 5%, that investment tries to get to 10.5% per year. So why this is important is we always want to outperform inflation. If you have 1,000 Rand today, and that 1,000 Rand just grows with inflation for the next 20 years, for argument's sake, and in 20 years' time, that 1,000 Rand has grown by inflation, is now worth 100,000 Rand. Although it's worth 100,000 Rand, it has the same power, the same buying power as what 1,000 Rand has today. So your money has not grown, it's actually stayed exactly the same. It's increased in Rand numbers, but it stayed exactly the same. The 100,000 is actually still 1,000 Rand, it's still the same after 20 years. So what you want your investment to do is you want your investment to grow at inflation plus the 5.5%, because now what will happen is your 1,000 Rand that you've invested will not be 100,000 Rand at retirement, but let's say it will now be 200,000 Rand. So because you've had the 5.5% above inflation growth, you will now have 200,000 Rand in your investment, and that 200,000 Rand will now be the same as 2,000 Rand today. So if you had 1,000 Rand today and you could go and buy yourself 100 bottles of Coca-Cola, in the future, because you have 200,000 Rand and because you have outperformed inflation by 5.5%, you can at that stage buy yourself 200 bottles of Coca-Cola. And that is why we invest money, because you want your money to grow so that somewhere in the future you've got enough capital that you can buy more, live more, be more comfortable, have more time on your hands. I hope that helps you, Cam, because that's a very, very good question. I don't think people very often understand what it means when we talk about CPI plus 5 or plus 6 or plus 7. Just scrolling through here, folks. Thank you for all the thumbs ups and everything like that. Great stuff. I really appreciate it. Okay, here we go. Fury Gaming ZA. What Fury Gaming ZA? Sorry, Fury Gaming ZA. Should I reduce my pension and invest in something else with the reduction amount? No, why would you want to do that? Fury Gaming, with all due respect, sir, why would you want to reduce your pension and invest in something else with a reduction amount? Not at all. Your pension fund, the contributions to pension funds, retirement annuity and provident funds. I don't care what anybody tells you out there. It's the best return on investment as long as you use it correctly. And what I mean by that is if you invest 10,000 Rand and you're on a 40% tax rate, the receiver gives you back 4,000 Rand. So you've invested 10,000 Rand, it grows by 10%, so it's worth 11,000 Rand. Now the receiver gives you back 4,000 Rand, now it's worth 15,000 Rand. So you've had a growth rate of 5,000 Rand, 50% on your investment. You are not going to get that return on any investment anywhere in the world, not on a constant basis. So if you use it correctly, the problem with retirement annuities and pension funds is that people don't take that money that they get back from the receiver and reinvest it. They go and spend it. Then it doesn't work so lekker for them and I can't understand why. But even if they do, the returns on those pension funds are good. So please do not reduce it and go and invest it in something else. rather take extra money and invest that in something else. Ali Ark, you mentioned equity fund as a favorite fund. Which service provider was it again? Okay, so here's the thing. I've got a number of equity funds that I like, okay? It's not just only one. But the ones that I was talking about earlier, I was referring to the Old Mutual Global Equity Fund, which is for your international investments, so not a local investment. Allan Gray Equity and Allan Gray Balance Funds is very nice. Coronation Equity Fund. So there's a number. Then you've got the 10X and the Signias, which I also like. So there's a number of equity funds. But the difference is, in terms of these equity funds, some of them is local equity funds, so they just invest in the local JSE stock market. Some of them are global equity funds, which means they only invest in international markets, such as the Dow Jones and the Hang Seng. And then you've got equity funds that are basically a combination of the two. And the question that we need to, what's this now? Okay, I'll try this. I don't know what it is, but in any case, sorry folks, something has just happened here and I have no clue what it is. In any case, the long and the short with regards to those equity funds, it depends on the type of equity fund that you need that is in line with your requirements. That is what is important about that, whether you're going to go local, international, or combination. So I can name you all these equity funds, but at the end of the day, you once again going to have to make a decision as to which one fits you best. And it's, yeah, this is not rocket science. I'm going to be very honest with you. It's not as if I have 40 different equity funds and for every client I give a different one or I give a different combination. I've got a few equity funds, like I've mentioned, which I really like because of their performances, their philosophies, how they manage their funds. And that's normally the ones that I offer to clients, either a standalone or combinations. Once again, depending on what we've discussed with their needs. The new fight of life. Maybe I should go and check that word before I say it out loud again, because I don't think I know what a new fight is. Ricard, do you know what a new fight is? Hi Correct, tydiglik so 2.2 in private equity. Hy doen goed, maar wat kan ek doen omtrent die tax? Okay, just for the English people, you say you've got 2.2 million in private equity and it's doing well, but what can I do about the tax? Short answer, nothing. Absolutely nothing. If you want to be invested in those type of investments, you have to take the pains that comes with it, and tax is one of the pains. So no, there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Nothing that I know. Honestly, I don't know about anything you can do, so nothing. The only thing you can do, because you say it's the tax on the interest, is you can go out of that investment and invest into something different where you don't earn so much interest and therefore don't pay so much tax. See, the thing is with private equity, especially when it comes to these interest rates, is the interest gets added to your personal tax rate or to your personal income. And if it's a big investment like the 2.2 and you earn a substantial amount of interest, let's say on 2.2 you're going to earn, let's call it 20%, it means that it's an extra 440,000 Rand that gets added onto your income, and therefore this combination of income and interest now becomes your new income, and that lifts you up in tax rates, maybe from a 30% tax rate to a 36, 41 or 45% tax rate. So as lekker as it is, as nice as it is sometimes to have, a good investment or good alternative investment, they can bite you in the backside because of things like tax. Oh, the grandson is very unhappy. He must have bumped the toe or something. Shame. Sandisa says, on tax account, what info do I submit on my tax submission in July? You don't submit anything, Sandisa. You don't have to submit anything. Oh no, why are you crying? Jy het doodgestamp. Oh, my grandson was just crying miserably. Something must have happened. He heard something somewhere. So then these are, you don't have to do anything with regards to a tax-free investment. Legislation says this is the tax-free investment, this is how much you can invest, this is how much you can put in, everything that you earn on that in growth is tax-free. So you don't have to do anything. What happens is that the investment company with who you have the tax-free investment, they will send to SARS a tax directive just to say, okay, she's got this investment, and this is how much she's contributed for the year, and SARS will say, okay, fine, then at least we know that we don't have to tax her because you've paid in too much, and they then keep it up to date. They keep in their records how much you've contributed over the years to make sure that you do not go over the maximum they allow where they tax you. So you don't have to do anything, okay? That's the nice thing about it. Yes, Dave Ramsey wrote that book, Baby Steps Millionaires. See, who is this? Confessions of a Church Girl is back. I would like to be a financial advisor. How do I go about it? I have my RE5. Confessions of a Church Girl. You've got my WhatsApp number in my profile. Okay, I'm sure you've got it. If you don't, just pop it in quickly. I'll go and find it and post it. But you send me a WhatsApp, and then you tell me that it's you that's been on tonight's TikTok Live, and then we set up an appointment, do a coffee, be that in person, be that Teams meeting, whatever, and I'll have a chat to you about being a financial advisor, what it takes, how to start, where to go, etc. I'll guide you through the whole exercise. Promise. I love doing this for potential new advisors that comes in. Callum says, thank you. Think I'm going to reach out to you and have a chat. Absolutely, Callum. Anytime, mate. Anytime. The Chess Addict. Man, people have such interesting names. I find it so interesting, everything. Okay, Fury Gaming ZA, you say, how do I get the money back from the receiver? You're talking about the money on the retirement annuities and pension funds. Okay, so you don't get it back, because what happens is, if you're in a pension fund, and I wish companies would put more effort into explaining this to their people. If you've got a pension fund with your company, okay, and let's say you earn 10,000 Rand a month, that company already has to pay over your PAYE and your UIF and everything like that. So now they say, okay, listen here, this guy is going to contribute 1,000 Rand out of his 10,000 Rand towards his pension fund. Then what they do is they go and work out based on the tax tables. They're going to say, okay, well, if he was going to, because he's earning 10,000 Rand, because he's going to contribute 1,000 Rand, the tax saving that he gets on that, and what the receiver will give him back at the end of the year is, let's say, 300 Rand. So what they then do is they give you that extra 300 Rand on your salary. So you go home every month and you take home 8,500 Rand after taxes and everything. But strictly speaking, you should have only taken home 8,200. But they've already worked in that tax saving. So now they give you 300 Rand more. So you're very happy. You get 8,500. You go and spend it on whatever the case might be. But 300 Rand is actually the pension fund money that they've given you back, because they've already worked it in the calculation. So when they send your tax returns to SARS, or when they send your your IRPs to SARS and you do your tax returns, SARS sees you earn 10,000 Rand, you paid 1,000 Rand on your pension fund, the tax that you should have paid would have been 600 Rand for argument's sake. But you've only paid 300 Rand because we as SARS would have given you back 300 Rand. SARS goes, great. These oaks worked out the taxes and the rebates, everything perfectly. We don't have to worry about giving him the money back. So if you work for a company and you have a pension fund, you can have that calculation done. And then the discipline is on you to say, okay, I now know 300 Rand a month of what I get in my bank account is the money that I'm actually saving on my pension contributions. That's the rebate I'm getting. You should then take that 300 Rand a month and go and invest it back into a retirement annuity, or until the end of the year plunge it into pension fund, whatever. So that's how it works. The only people that get money back from the receiver is people that have their own businesses, because they contribute towards retirement annuities, but their taxes are calculated differently. They get their income, maybe they take off PAYE, maybe they don't take off PAYE, end of the year, they do their tax returns, there's profits involved and dividends and whatever, and normally those people, if they've got enough deductions and they've done retirement annuity contributions, when their accountants submit their tax returns, SARS sees, okay, this guy has contributed 1,000 Rand a month to retirement annuity, he never claimed the rebates, and now I have to give him back 300 Rand per month, and then they give him 3,600 Rand. And that's how it works. So it's pretty important for somebody like yourself to understand how this works, and then to speak to maybe an accountant or your HR department, and then to discipline yourself, to take that extra funding that you get back as rebate and put it away for later. Thank you, Fury Gaming. That was a great question, mate. Very good question. Oh, and it's a pleasure, man. I love sharing my experience. I started doing this because my son actually said to me that it will be good to help people, because people do not have the knowledge and they don't want to speak to financial advisors. And I started doing this to help people, for them to understand finances and financial advice better. And yes, I'm very chuffed. It gives me a warm feeling when people say thank you and people say, listen, it's helping. Have you ever thought of a fintech company with an SQ service? Nobody? No, I haven't. That's the short and the long of it. So nobody? No, I have never thought about that. Maybe when I'm not so busy, I'll give it some thought, but at the moment I am busy enough and blessed enough with what I'm getting. New Fight of Life. There we go. I'm going to have to check out what the New Fight of Life is. Dankie Gorey, dank moet ek bietjie kom kuier. Ek chop bietjie af. New Fight. Dankie, daar sê so. New Fight is a very nice name for student. Did you know that? Did you know that? Everybody is talking to grandson. Thank you very much. Now I know. Now I've learned something. I must be honest with you. I would not have thought that New Fight means student. There was a lot of other things going on in my head, but definitely not student. Yeah, come and have a chat. Tamzagwa, I'm meeting one of your financial advisors tomorrow. I hope they'll help me with my situation. Let me know which one you're meeting. Let me know, then I can check up on them to see if they're doing the good thing. Gaan jy kom hallo sê? Wil jy nie kom hallo sê nie? Okay. Wil jy die cola tonic kry? Okay. Grandson wants cola tonic. What's your take on investing in S&P 500 as a South African over 30 years? Callum, if you're over 30 years, look, if you 75, 80, it might not be the place for you anymore. Okay, then you're also over 30 years. But I would assume if you say over the age of 30, you're talking about 30 to 35, maybe even 40. And I think that is a great place to invest money for anybody up to the age of 40. It's okay, chat saam met my mense. It's a great place for somebody to be invested at that age, because you've got plenty of time for investing. So absolutely, go for it. S&P 500 is one of those funds that I don't use on a regular basis. I've got a couple of other funds that I really like more. But the S&P 500 funds are doing well. So absolutely go for it. As long as you understand the risk and understand that if that S&P 500 fund does take a dip, okay, which happens, like in COVID time, those funds took serious dips, 30-40% minuses. It's during those times that you have to hang on and not let go, not cash out. It's during those times that one has to grind your teeth, try not to look at the numbers and wait until we've come through the dip. And as long as you can do that, as long as you can not get all panicky at those stages, perfect. And of course, if you're willing to invest for a longer period. Okay, great stuff. I'm looking forward to meeting you, Church Girl. Coco, I'm 31, investing £3,500 into a Sanlamore, second year now. Am I on track? Coco, it sounds like you're well on track. Really it does. 3,500 is a good starting point. 31, you might be 2 or 3 years behind in terms of planning, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. The bigger question is, what is your earnings? Okay, because one should be a good rule of thumb is 15% of your gross income from the age of about 25, 26. So 3,500 rand, what's it now? 20,000 will give you 3,000. Yeah. Okay, so 3,500 rand. Go and calculate if that is 15% of your gross income. If it's less than 15%, think about upping it. If it's the same, you're on track, but keep a look on it because you want to make sure that you don't fall behind because you started a few years later. If you're above, sounds like you're well on track. Okay, so go and do that calculation and then you will have a good idea of whether you are on track or not. Let's see. Hello. Dankie baie, Sinkie. Jackie Cooper, hi. What's the best option to invest with good returns but no to... Would this be low risk or high risk? Hi, what's the best option to invest with good returns but no to low risk? I would think you would say no to low risk. Jackie, my mate, it depends on the amount of time that you've got again. If we are talking about a short-term investment of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, a money market account might be a good investment. I know that it is low risk then, but on short-term investments you don't want to take a lot of risk because you don't want to sit in a situation where you take a big dip and you don't have recovery time. But if you're talking longer term, I go back to the equity funds I mentioned earlier: Old Mutual Global Equity Fund, Allan Gray Equity Fund, Allan Gray Balance Fund, Old Mutual MSCI Feeder Fund, Coronation Equity Fund, Tenex, Signia, all very, very good funds. Okay, let's see who's next. Yo. BG says, hi, are you a financial advisor? Yes, BG, I am indeed a financial advisor. Hence me trying my hand at doing the TikTok live every now and again. Sujay, what's your take on offshore unit trust, like in conversion to US dollar and invest in the offshore into... Well, Sujay, I think every South African should have international exposure with their investments. It really doesn't matter whether you are talking about a unit trust, an endowment or retirement annuity. You should have offshore exposure. And I know that the offshore funds at the moment is not doing so spectacularly. The offshore funds actually in the last few months are doing a downturn. But that's not before the fund is doing badly, because the funds, the fund is actually still either level or going up over the last few months. The thing that has been hurting offshore funds is the rand that's strengthening against the dollar. So a lot of people are very concerned because everybody is always going on about the rand tanking and the rand going to hell and whatever the case might be. And now the rand has recovered substantially. But that's not because the rand is so strong, it's more because the dollar is so weak. And this is all to do with America and our friend Donald Trump and what he wants to do with the American economy. So, to cut this long story that I just started short, invest, definitely, globally. Do global investments. And if you are one of the people that are in a global investment with any of your investments at the moment and you are seeing a bit of a negative return or flattening out, don't worry. The dollar ain't gonna keep on being as weak as it is now for the rest of your life. Okay. BG, with who are you? Well, BG, as a matter of fact, I've got two companies. I've got an independent brokerage and I've got an Old Mutual franchise. So I can basically do just about... Oh, what's happened here? Okay. I can basically deal with whichever company I feel like. So I am as independent as I can be. Oh, you're meeting with Joseph. Great. He is a lovely guy. You're really going to enjoy him. He is one of the younger advisors that I have. And when I say younger, he's not 50 or older. And yeah, Joseph, very good guy, and he will help you very well. And the one thing I can tell you is Joseph is one of the reasons why I like Joseph so much is because he's one of those advisors that if he's not certain about something or he wants to get a second opinion, he gets on the phone like that and WhatsApp to talk to me. So you will be in absolutely good hands, okay? Okay, where are we next? Let's see. We're coming to the end, folks. I see we've got about 5 or 6 minutes left. And tonight's one of those nights I'm not going to end late because, like you've heard, my grandson is here and I want to still play a bit with him. Okay, Pieter says, hi oom, sal oom sê FNB is 'n goeie bank om geld te belê. Pieter, I don't think any bank is a good bank to invest money. I think banks is good for what they're supposed to be. Check accounts, current accounts, transmission accounts, I think those have fallen away. Credit cards. Banks are good to give you loans, to give you credit cards, to give you a current account. The savings account that banks have is good for emergency funds. But except for that, I don't think a bank should be used for investments. I know the bankers won't agree with me, but that's my personal opinion. So, Peter, my opinion, if you want to have a bank product because you need a bank product so you can pay with debit orders and do FTs and whatever, get yourself a good bank like FNB and open your bank account. But if you want to do a decent investment, find a good investment company and a financial advisor that can guide you through it. Renee Minnar says, oor die tax-free investment, betekent dit enige rente uit investment is tax-free? Yes, Renee. So Renee is saying on a tax-free investment doesn't mean that all the interest earned on investment is tax-free. Absolutely. And that's what makes it so beautiful, Renee, is that every cent that you invest, okay, you can invest up to 500,000, but every cent you invest, whatever growth you earn on that cent is tax-free. And that is what makes the tax-free investment so good. So, that's what it was created for. It was to encourage people to invest more, and by not taxing the investment, the hope was that more people will make use of these investments because they will now get more growth because there will be no tax against it, and therefore there will be less people that's reliant on government for SASSA grants and stuff like that. So a tax-free investment, every cent of growth you get, whether it's interest or actual growth from a portfolio, is tax-free. Tobizi added, what about 91 and PMX funds, equity funds? 91 is great. Remember, 91 is the old Investec. Fantastic. PMX, I'm not too certain about. I can't really recall PMX offhand now. But then once again, like I've said from before, there's thousands of companies. Can't remember them all. Okay, you're referring to offshore exposure with RA funds. I'm referring to investing directly offshore. Yes, Sujay, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying you can use offshore investments for every type of investment you want to do. If you want to invest directly offshore, absolutely. You're talking about making use of your 11 million rand that SARS allows on an annual basis to invest internationally. Absolutely. I won't necessarily make use of a unit trust. I think there is better products in the form of endowments, but you can, once again, there's a number of investment companies like Old Mutual, Sanlam, Allan Gray, all that offers these international investments. And absolutely, I would definitely advise people, especially if they earn more, or if they have more than a certain amount of money, to diverse and make use of those investments. Would it be better to invest in VTI, Vanguard, Total Index at this stage in US? I don't really follow that one, Renzo. I can't tell you. I'll have to go and check it out. It's like the other one I talked about earlier. I'll need to go and check that just to update myself again before I can tell you, but I really can't tell you. In terms of, you say for 10 years, When it comes for 10 years, there's so many funds that are lacquer. Once again, depends on how aggressive you're willing to be. Bram, moet mens tax betaal vir erfgeld? My seun het geërf en is 14. Bram is asking if you have to pay tax on inheritance. No, there's no tax payable on inheritance. Any tax that was payable on inheritance was payable by the estate of the deceased. So the deceased person's estate will pay any taxes that payable, and what you receive then from the estate or from the deceased estate, that inheritance is completely tax-free. That is why it's important that once you inherit this money, that you then go and invest it with knowledge to ensure that you keep it as tax-free as possible and make it work for you as hard as possible into the future. Renzo, since the USD will strengthen, yes, I believe the USD will strengthen. We don't know when, but I'm sure it will strengthen again. Absolutely. What's better? Fear Guy says, what's better, tax-free savings or tax-free investment? Well, my opinion is tax-free investment. If we're talking tax-free savings, folks, it basically means we're talking about a bank savings account. And a bank savings account gives you an interest rate which the bank tells you upfront is 4, 5, 6, 7%. Now, I do not like that because I know that what a bank does with a savings account, irrespective of whether it's tax-free or not, they take your money and they tell you we're going to give you 5%, and then they go and invest the money into portfolios with other companies and they get 10% growth. And they take the difference and they give you a 5%. So, what is better? Always the tax-free investment. That's my opinion. I am not a fan of tax-free savings accounts with banks. I think people are, pardon the French, bullshitting themselves when they do that and think that they're getting good growth. Hi, Tic-Tac-Toe, welcome. Yeah, seeing you again. Alle groei is belastingvry. Baie dankie, Tic-Tac-Toe, thank you. If you want to lose your money, contact this guy. Oh, thank you, golly, Rontry. You're such a nice guy. I suppose you're referring to me if you say if you want to lose all your money, contact this guy. My 260 odd clients will disagree with you substantially. Any case, Renee, would it be better to invest? Okay, Renee, I've tried to answer that one. I can't. Fury Gaming 2, growth is tax-free savings, growth is lower as it's from banks. Thank you. Since USD versus Rand will strengthen, yes, that's why you want to be invested in global investments. Tic-Tac-Toe, thank you very much. Contact Renee for tax-free, one of the best. Thank you very much, mate. I really do appreciate it. T-Man, hi, what do you think of Net Group Global Equity Fund? I haven't really checked it out. I know they've got a global equity fund, but I haven't checked it out because ever since their Rainmaker fund, I don't really do many net group funds. Okay. Floyd Salma, what is the best interest rate for tax-free investment? Is there any risk involved? How long is the swap? Okay, so the interest rate, you will only get an interest rate from the bank, and that's going to depend on from bank to bank, from savings account to savings account. Is there any risk involved? Yes. If you want to be invested in a tax-free investment and not a tax-free savings account, then you're going to be using a portfolio, and yes, there will be risk on the portfolio, which can be either low, medium or high, your decision. How long to swap? Shouldn't take you more than 30 days from the moment that you start the paperwork. So that's the whole thing. Floyd? Renzo, okay, thanks. What's your company contact numbers? Then I'll get in contact with your company. Ah, gee whiz. See, I knew somebody was going to ask this. Let me see quickly. So, my company contact number is 011 660 1291. My WhatsApp number is 060 541 4685. So 060 541 4685. That's the WhatsApp number. That's the one that I answer most on. Let me try again. 060 541 4685. That's the WhatsApp number I answer most people most of the time on. Telephone number to office is 001 660 1291. There we go. Okay, last one. Dean says, Eating, what's your option for saving or retirement? Is it better to put all your money in a retirement plan? Dean, I've answered this question from before, and I'm going to ask you to send it to me on WhatsApp because I'm just not going to have time to answer this. But that question is basically a 50-50 answer. I think that one should have both, retirement and tax-free. Thank you for transparency. Thank you, Ants Man. Like seeing you again. Is Sanlam retirement plan a good place to invest your money? Yes, it is. Offshore investments, do they have good returns? Some of them have, some of them don't. Or have a retirement plan and tax-free, have both of them. That's the important one. Cheers, Chick Tac Toe. Thank you very much, and come back. I still want to talk to you, mate. Okay, folkies, there we go. Thank you very much for Thursday Night TikTok Live. I will see you again next week. Thank you for joining. It was fun as always. Keep well. Bye-bye.